Is living in Pittsburgh worth it? Whether you're considering a move for school, work, or just a fresh start, today I'm going to give you my unfiltered take on what living in Pittsburgh is really like. From highlights to challenges, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know before making your move to Pittsburgh. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly if Pittsburgh is the right fit for you or if it's not. We'll go over the city's best neighborhoods, its unique culture, and some insider tips that only people who live here would know. I'm not just someone who's grew up in Pittsburgh, but I'm also a real estate relocation specialist. So I work with dozens and dozens of clients every single year who are moving here from all over. I get to hear their stories, why they're moving here, and help them pick the perfect neighborhood and the perfect house. And trust me, I know what these people don't like about the city and the things that light people up. So today I'm going to give you a complete take on, is living in Pittsburgh worth it? And we're getting started right now. First, let's talk about the neighborhoods because there's over 90 different neighborhoods just in our city limits, and then you have all of our different suburbs. So I'm going to break down the main areas people choose and why they might be worth it to you or why you might want to rule those areas out. And each one of them really has its own distinct character, its own distinct vibe to it, so that's what makes Pittsburgh very different than many other cities. You could literally go 2 streets down and you're in a completely different feeling of a neighborhood than a few minutes down the road. And that's because each neighborhood has its own unique little culture. For example, you might have heard of Bloomfield, which is actually our city's Little Italy. And there you're going to find, of course, amazing Italian food, farmers markets, and just a really wholesome and community-oriented vibe. And then you have Lawrenceville, which you go into it and it feels like a hipster town completely. You have lots of different trendy clothing stores, make your own candle shops, old vintage bowling alleys, and then really cool food options, lots of good like seafood, about 10 different coffee shops just on Butler Street alone. And then you compare that to Shadyside where it feels very quaint, a lot of working professionals, professors from universities, and a very quaint upscale vibe where you have more high-end shops to choose from and just a few different business districts that do also feel very community oriented, but just in its own way. So what I found from people moving from like New York City is they really like the East End, they really like Lawrenceville, they like kind of that gritty feeling of it, but also just despite its grittiness, like quality stores, quality food, and it has a bit more nightlife than many other of our neighborhoods, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the cons. But people in New York typically find Lawrenceville to be the most comparable city neighborhood that Pittsburgh has to offer. And in that case, I would say Lawrenceville, if you're making the move from somewhere very city-ish where you have row homes, street parking, it's very walkable, and again, it has that grittier sense, very city-like, then Lawrenceville would be worth it if you are looking for something that's maybe more affordable than New York City, or you're just looking for a change of scenery, but you don't want to leave that East Coast. We also found a lot of young professionals who are moving to Pittsburgh are liking neighborhoods like the Strip District as well. Now that's a section of downtown. It's not the Golden Triangle, but you're a few minutes away from downtown Pittsburgh. And the Strip District has really had a come up in the past few years. Now you're seeing a ton of new construction, apartment buildings, and condos that have become increasingly popular. You have some of the best amenities that any apartment buildings in Pittsburgh have to offer, such as rooftop decks, different gym facilities, great views, and being a few streets from Smallman Street with all of the workout facilities that they have, all of the different cafes, bars, wineries, and different things like puttery and fun daily activities, then the Strip District is worth it in that sense. It definitely has quality food, quality like fish markets like Holy's, and it's again pretty gritty of a vibe. It's more like old school Pittsburgh vibes. It's not your upscale and super clean with garages and lots of room for parking. It's definitely more of like that condo living. So if you are someone that maybe prefers condo living, I would say Strip District is going to be more popular than downtown for that. And in that sense, if you're coming from a different city, you're looking for a change and you're looking for higher end amenities, higher end condos, then you could find them anywhere from like 600,000 all the way past the $1 million mark. And some people find that affordable from the cities that they're coming from. But as I mentioned before, Shadyside is one of those neighborhoods where you're going to have that upscale feel. And what really comes with that in the city living is going to be big, large homes on large lots with driveways or just space for parking. Sometimes you have garages there. And that's really going to encompass like Shadyside, Squirrel Hill, Highland Park, Friendship Park, and more of the East End. Now, you also are going to have big parks, some of the city's largest parks, which are going to be Frick Park, Shenley Park, and then little parklets throughout the East End. So if you are someone that wants like more of quaint business districts, walkability, huge homes, and more of a suburban feel in the city, then those provide amazing options. And those are some of my favorite neighborhoods. Personally, we help people move to the East End every other day, and it's somewhere that just has an unmatched vibe to it. I really like more of the quiet, upscale, room for parking, but still enjoying city benefits. And in that case, I would say if you're looking for that East End, Pittsburgh has some of the best neighborhoods that no other city can compare to, with our architecture, our charm, the beautiful foliage in the fall, and just overall lots of nature for being in the city. If that's something you like, then absolutely the East End. Beautiful neighborhoods. Pittsburgh is worth it in that sense, where it has really great neighborhoods to offer. And maybe you're looking for great views and affordability. Well, then Mount Washington could be an option for you. People come to Pittsburgh every single day for affordability, and also great views might be on their checklist. Mount Washington's a great area because not only do you have panoramic views of the skyline of Pittsburgh, but you also have lots of affordable housing mixed in with newer construction and pretty nice homes over $1 million that overlook that view. On Grandview Avenue, you have so many different nice businesses and so many beautiful restaurants. So if you are someone that could really value beautiful views of a city, we have one of the best skylines, it's constantly being rated, then you might find that Pittsburgh has something that you're looking for. And where I think Pittsburgh is very worth it is its up and coming neighborhoods. Now, Pittsburgh's constantly being rated as one of the most affordable cities to live in the world, along with affordable housing markets. And up and coming, you have a lot of big time investors investing into Pittsburgh. It's one of the only markets for our investors out there that hit the 1% rule when you're looking at purchase price of say $200,000. What could you get for rent? Around $2,000. Now that's obviously a case by case scenario, but it's one of the only markets that still provide that luxury for investors where you could really get good cash flow. I would say some up and coming neighborhoods to keep an eye out would be Garfield, Millville, Sharpsburg. Aspinwall's pretty much up there, but then again, Troy Hill is another one. You want to look for anywhere that is next to areas being developed. So East Liberty was recently developed, and areas around that like Lawrenceville, so in the East End, but on the cuts of that is Garfield. And now street by street, you're seeing renovations take place, tear downs happening, and brand new homes being built with purchase prices slowly starting to increase. So Garfield is one that a lot of investors have seen success in, especially if you're into that strategy where you're doing flips, complete renovations, or you're just looking for somewhere that has potential to appreciate pretty significantly over the next decade. So if you are someone who enjoys city living, those are some of the options that people tend to find are worth it, especially from where they're coming from. Pittsburgh is very affordable, so it provides affordable alternatives to major cities out there. We have a lot of people coming from Washington, even California, all the way out in the West Coast, Portland, Oregon. They're all finding that Pittsburgh has an unsensed match of charm, along with the affordability and overall lifestyle that they're really seeking. And to touch on the suburbs, why people think our suburbs are so worth it is going to be the school districts and the amenities. So in our suburbs, I'm going to break it down by north, south, east, and west. And in our North Hills, that's probably one of our most popular sections. Reason being is you have some of the top rated school districts in Pittsburgh, plus you have the best commute from the North Hills all the way to Pittsburgh. You have no tunnel, and you also have carpooling lanes, and traffic is minimal compared to any of the areas with the tunnels. If you've watched our channel before, you know this for sure. We talk about tunnel traffic a lot, as that's one of the big shockers and one of the big drawbacks too to moving to Pittsburgh. Every city has traffic. Ours is just caused by tunnels. So North Hills, if you are somebody that's looking for good shopping, you have Ross Park Mall, you're looking for nice amenities such as high-end groceries like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, you're looking for maybe some cool different shopping centers, and a mix of your popular food along with newer food chains. And on top of that, amazing homes to choose from, some being very prestigious communities. You have homes right next to and on golf courses. Lots of golf courses in our East End, so we help a lot of golfers move here and just pick the right communities out. And honestly, some beautiful rolling hills and just perfectly carved out communities. Then the North Hills, you're going to love it. Some of the most notable school districts are going to be Pine Richland, North Allegheny, which is constantly being rated as one of the top in the state, Hampton, and Seneca Valley, and that is actually in Butler County. So one of the drawbacks that people say, whoa, this isn't as worth it as I imagined. Taxes could be outrageous in some of these areas. Take, for example, Gibsonia or even like Edgeworth, Sewickley area. Taxes are very, very expensive in those areas, and that has to do with the borough tax along with the school district tax. But if you do want more affordable taxes, we could obviously walk you through one-on-one what's going to be the best scenario based on what you're looking to spend and what's your cap for taxes based on purchase price and overall what's important to you, because maybe you do get advantages in these neighborhoods with higher taxes, but that all comes down to what you're wanting to spend. If you want to go up into Butler County, Cranberry Township has been exploding with new construction, and that could be a drawback for some people. I was just on the phone with people who are relocating from California, and they said that they didn't necessarily want to live somewhere that's going to continue to be developed where you don't even know what the area is going to be like in a few years. And maybe you have a beautiful view and you don't want that to be blocked off, or maybe you don't want the traffic and the population to increase even more in the area that you came for isn't the same anymore. So there's pros and cons of some of this, but a lot of pros are a lot of new construction in these areas. Not every Pittsburgh neighborhood has new construction. So if you do want new construction, there's beautiful Infinity custom homes. We literally feature them on this channel. So you could watch that. We'll link some in the description below. But you also have like nice townhomes and a variety of different builders. And you have a nice school district along with lower taxes, a little more rural of a setting, but shopping centers, all new commercial. So it's probably the newest area in Pittsburgh when you're looking at things you'll visit every day, and it's loaded with everything you would need. And then you come down to, say, the South Hills, which has a completely different feel than the North Hills, and people coming more from like California and newer areas typically gravitate towards the North Hills because it feels more new to them, more flat. The South Hills can feel a little more condensed. That was our trolley suburb, so you do have advantages to that, like it being more walkable. Mount Lebanon is an area that's truly unlike many other areas anywhere. People come in there and they fall in love because the architecture, the community, the business districts with your ice cream and cafes, and then of course all the old growth trees, the sidewalks throughout the whole neighborhood, and being a top rated blue ribbon school district. It's hard to beat the charm that Mount Lebanon really has, and on top of a great school program and just a overall very tight-knit community, that's what some people are exactly looking for. So they're like, okay, this is absolutely worth it to me. And even though the areas we might be talking about might not be extremely affordable, they're still a lot more affordable if you're going to a different city and you're looking for like one of their top suburbs. So, pros and cons, you got to weigh them out. But also in the South Hills, you have areas like Bethel Park, Upper St. Clair, where they're not as walkable, but they still provide great school, great amenities. Again, you have your Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, nice shopping centers, very nice neighborhoods, and again, only about a 25-30 minute commute into Pittsburgh. Now, west, people think it's worth it for the airport, for the land, and for the quietness that it provides, but also Robinson Township is also loaded with great amenities, great convenience, and good business district. We see a lot of business professionals going into the west side just because it's very convenient for their everyday commute. And over towards the east, you have some hidden gems like North Huntington, like Murraysville, where you could really save on taxes but get beautiful homes by custom built builders. These aren't like the brand new ones being slapped up, but these are truly like breathtaking communities. Very quiet, very peaceful, not a bad commute into Pittsburgh. I would say amenities are pretty average. They have some really good restaurants and food choices, but they just don't have as much high-end shopping or some of the specialty chains. So all of that being said, taking a look at all of our neighborhoods, all of our school programs, and just the diversity that you get to choose from, 100% people think Pittsburgh's worth it, especially when you're looking at the prices on that. And I completely agree with that. There's not many places where you're going to find such quality of lifestyle and such quality of properties for the prices that Pittsburgh has. Now, this one's going to get interesting. We're going to talk about lifestyle and culture. So Pittsburgh is an area that is very proud, very set in their ways, and very about tradition and community, and also very about sports. So if you are a Steelers fan, a Penguins fan, or a Pirates fan, you might want to move here because we have the most unmatched sports town that I have witnessed. The games, the fans, the after games where everyone goes out to eat into the bars in their jerseys to high-end places. There's really no place like Pittsburgh when it comes to the pride that they show in their sports. And I mean, on game day, downtown is crazy. You'll see everybody in jerseys and everybody riled up. Very intense. The fans are very intense, and you will feel that when you're at the game. You will feel the energy that they bring. Even if it's a game that's not even in Pittsburgh, you're still going to spot out your Pittsburgh fans if they're playing, and they might take up a bigger portion of the stadium than you would expect. There's Steelers fans from all over the world, and even when I go on vacation, like to places like Myrtle Beach, you will see Steelers bars everywhere. I think there's some in Florida too, so it just shows the pride that they have and how that spreads nationwide, even out of the country. So let's just say if you're a sports fan, it's totally worth it to move to Pittsburgh. And if you're into more of like the bar scene and like dive bars, Permani sandwiches, right, with the French fries and bar food, then this is your hoot and holler. But if you are someone that enjoys maybe a lot of nice nightlife, a lot of nice nightclubs, a lot of luxury high-end shopping, and lots of amenities to choose from, then Pittsburgh might not be worth it to you. It's not going to be that type of city, and it's not going to have maybe your highest end gyms like Lifetime Fitness that other cities have. It's not going to have endless options for nightlife. There's really a few neighborhoods that hold the most nightlife. And it's a smaller town, so you go out, you pretty much see a lot of the same people. It's not like a huge town where you could go out and not recognize faces. It's honestly a small town in a big city feel. There's pros and cons to that. I would say if you're someone that's really used to bigger cities like Atlanta, New York, Los Angeles, Miami, you probably won't resonate with Pittsburgh as much as you would expect to. It's not an endless amount of new different things to try. Yes, there's new businesses popping up, but when you go to a new city, I mean, there's so many places you cannot try them all. This isn't one of them. There's not like endless amounts of places. You know your few spots, you know the top places you want to go, and those are pretty much always the staple, and then you have your national retail chains everywhere else. That being said, to switch the note, if you are someone that is really into tech, robotics, AI, healthcare, and good universities, then you definitely will really appreciate Pittsburgh. We're a city of hard workers. We're a city that built New York with our steel and transformed into a tech, AI, innovation, healthcare hub. I can't tell you how many people we help in the healthcare industry, whether they're looking to get healthcare themselves or they're actually practicing healthcare. They all are flocking to Pittsburgh for job opportunities, for notable companies, and for notable healthcare. So if that's important to you, I would say Pittsburgh is absolutely worth it. We have some of the best healthcare in the world. And that being in your footsteps, where there's literally a hospital every other mile here, that could be a huge advantage for you. AI is super exciting. We have tech startups here. We spurred the movement for the first self-driving car. You have a lot of exciting things happening in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh is actually behind a lot of the AI movement. So it's only going to increase in the next decade, and that's only going to bring more opportunity here, more housing, more jobs, more people, and it's going to really transform Pittsburgh even more. So what I think is exciting and why Pittsburgh is so worth it is we're at the very beginning stages of all of this. Pittsburgh has recently just dabbled into this and established itself in this field, and from now on it's going to be a rocket ship up, and that's what's super exciting to me. Another thing, if you love good food, you love nature, then Pittsburgh's definitely worth it for you. We do have amazing food. It's not just all Permane sandwiches and bar food, but we have a lot of high-end dining and restaurants all throughout that are very right home to mom about. So if you like food, or even we've helped a lot of chefs move here to open up because it's not super crowded like these other major cities. There's opportunity to get your name out there, establish, and open up a restaurant. And we've helped tons of people do that for Pittsburgh. So I hope that gave you kind of a clear idea on who Pittsburgh's for and who it's not for. Now we're going to go on to the challenges that I would consider if I was you. No place is perfect, and Pittsburgh is definitely not perfect. One thing that is pretty notable to tell you guys is our weather is pretty wild. So we could get all 4 seasons in one day. Right now, it's literally, we're in the middle of a snowstorm. That does not happen often, and it's been getting less and less intense over the years, but still, it could get, if you're not used to the cold, you might not be ready for it. It's pretty intense. It's a job to wipe off your car, to go places, but it just comes with the winter season, and personally, I like all 4 seasons because our falls, our summers, our springs, beautiful. Winter could be harsh, but it's worth it. It's winter, right? Another thing to consider on challenges might be public transportation. So we do have the bus system and we have the T system. The T system is only in the South Hills and then within the city, which some people complain about because it would be nice to get a more expanded system. And Port Authority, our bus lines drop off pretty dramatically when you get into the suburbs. So if you're going to rely on that, you're going to want to be in the city or a close by city neighborhood. And it's just not as efficient and reliable, some people say, as other cities. So if you're exclusively looking for public transportation, you're going to want to do your due diligence. Reach out to us. We'll be able to help you with the whole entire move, from finding the right area depending on your criteria to getting you purchased and closed on your new property. Another challenge is going to be the road navigation. So like I said before, we have lots of tunnels, That spurs tunnel traffic. It gets annoying, but let me tell you, from someone that travels a lot, it's nothing compared to other cities. I would say, yes, Pittsburgh's worth it if you're just taking into traffic into account, because we had so many people move here and tell us how much time they're saving. They get to spend that time with their family. They're gaining their life back compared to sitting in New York or DC traffic. Not worth it. But let me tell you, we do have so many different bridges, hills, very, very, very steep hills, and those are not fun in the winter. So please keep that in mind. I would say it does take time to adjust to Pittsburgh's roadways to get used to driving here, but you get used to it and you'll find your routes, you'll find your back ways if needed. If you're someone that just can't get in the car, you can't drive over bridges. We have some of the most bridges in the entire world. So in that case, Pittsburgh might not be worth it to you. And another thing is the gentrification happening. Now, Pittsburgh definitely is still more affordable, but I project that to pretty much change. You do see all of our different neighborhoods rising pretty high, especially the ones that have already been gentrified. They're very established neighborhoods. They're lots of new construction options, great amenities, and those are becoming less and less affordable, especially with housing costs rising throughout the nation. So you want to find the right neighborhood for you. You might be sticker shocked at some of the prices in some of these neighborhoods because they are starting to creep up and be more comparable to other cities, how they used to be before they rose insanely. So it's still more affordable, but it's not extremely affordable. And another drawback, like I said, is your nightlife. There's really not a huge nightlife scene here. There's a few clubs, there's a good amount of bars, but if you're someone that's really into nightlife and extravagant stuff, you might not like Pittsburgh and it might not be worth it to you. Now, is Pittsburgh worth it for me, someone that grew up here, has an established real estate business here, and relocates people from all over the world to Pittsburgh? Absolutely. I would not do this if I didn't like Pittsburgh. I would leave, but Pittsburgh has everything I'm looking for. It's a comfortable place to live. Of course, I have family and friends here. All of the food, the beautiful houses, most importantly to me is the people. They are so kind. It feels like Southern hospitality in the East Coast. So I love that. I love making new friends, meeting new people, and just knowing that my neighbor has my back. That's important to me. And plus, all of the communities that we have are really, really nice. And all of the amenities are very sufficient to me. So I would say I love Pittsburgh. I love the food options. I love the hominess of the town. I love so much about the city, especially the arts and culture scene, museums, skyline, all of the different neighborhoods, farmers markets. It's just so unique and it's absolutely worth it, in my opinion. So if you do plan to move to Pittsburgh, you're looking to purchase a house, make sure you reach out to us, the top-rated relocation team. We could help you with every single part of the move, from finding your neighborhood to crafting up competitive offers to getting your offer accepted and guiding you through the whole home process, along with anything you need. My father has a construction roofing company. We have connections with the top inspectors, top lenders here in Pittsburgh. So we are your resource for everything purchasing a home here in Pittsburgh, along with moving here to Pittsburgh from anywhere out of state. Or if you're here in Pittsburgh and you're looking to sell your house or move somewhere else, we will absolutely help you as well. So if you want our contact information, it will be up here on the screen and always in the description below. That's where you'll find our contact information, email, however you want to reach out to us. We have your back when you're moving to Pittsburgh. And you can watch our next videos on Pittsburgh, our real estate market, different home tours by clicking right here. And we'll see you there.